Welcome to Read Your Comics. Today I am looking at What If, number 45. The Incredible Hulk went berserk. Alright, I know I've been doing a lot of Hulk stuff lately, but that's because the Hulk is my favorite character. And this one's a little different because it's a what if, and it has one of the best Sienkiewicz covers ever done. Well, that's hard to say. He's done a lot of really awesome covers. He's done a lot of good Hulk covers too. Maybe this is his best Hulk cover. I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. Now, this came out in 1984. It's not the best what if premise, I don't think, because it's just, what if the Hulk went berserk? Doesn't he go berserk all the time? I thought that's what the Hulk was kind of known for, right? So in that regard, it's not one of those like, oh, it zigged instead of zagged or something. It's just like, what if the Hulk went so berserk that nobody could stop him early on? And that's basically the story we get. And you'll kind of see, based on some of the other characters that pop up, this is still in those early days. It's written by Peter Gillis with art by Ron Wilson. I'm not familiar with Ron Wilson. I don't know. I mean, this is pretty good. I like it. It's very clean. I mean, you got it looks like two inkers. It's like two last names, Aiken and Garvey. Very clean inking, though. Kind of reminds me of Terry Austin on John Byrne. A lot of heavy black areas. But I like it. I dig the art in this book. I don't know if they went on to do more stuff. So, this is the early days of the Hulk. It kind of recaps the Hulk's origin here, as many what-ifs kind of do. They have to kind of tell where the story's taking place. In this time, it looks like Rick maybe didn't get all the way in the safe zone there. So he got blasted too. And in the early days of the Hulk, there was an issue where Rick could control the Hulk. They were like mentally linked, which was very odd. In those first 6 issues of the Hulk, there's a lot of experimenting with what to do with the character. They weren't quite sure. Do they want to just make him straight up Jekyll and Hyde? He's turning at nighttime. Do they want Banner to be able to control it? Does he have to manually turn into the Hulk, and then the Hulk kind of takes, cuts loose? And do they want Rick to be able to control the Hulk? They just couldn't really decide, and I think that's kind of why the Hulk got canceled after 6 issues. They just didn't have a good direction for it. But they liked the concept enough, so he started popping up everywhere else, right? And then eventually got his own title again, and is one of the most popular characters today. Anyway, in this one, we're kind of picking up in that area where Rick could communicate with the Hulk, and they had like a psychic bond. Him and Banner, they could like communicate with each other. Pretty good transformation, contorting into his face and stuff. And I guess in this one, the Hulk, he's just green from the start. We're not even going to get the gray Hulk, because it's still the early Hulk. So he's communicating with him like mentally, and trying to calm him down and stuff, and the military's after him. I mean, look at this. That's a pretty cool panel. That's like some Kirby Sky Masters stuff right there. Good military stuff. Good angles. I mean, that's a pretty good shot of the Hulk being captured by the spotlight. Throwing a boulder at him. A lot of deep dark shadows here throughout. I think they're digging around and Banner's paperwork, and Igor's there. Look at that one. That shot of him. There's your running into the Jeep, running into the Hulk. They kind of, at this point in time too, whenever they would reprint Hulk #1, he would be green. So it's almost like they're trying to almost like retcon it. Now, we're not far away. This is 1984. 1985 is when they bring the gray Hulk back, or late 85, early 86, I guess, is when they bring the gray Hulk back. So we're not that far from the gray Hulk reappearing and then it being canonized again. But at this point, they were just trying to ignore that he was ever gray. The Hulk is rampaging, and at this point, they figure out that Rick has the mental connection to the Hulk. So they're going to lure him back by kind of torturing Rick, which sets the Hulk off. So like, stings, hurts. And so it sets the Hulk off to come back for him. And look at that panel. I mean, he's coming in like a rocket. blowing up. I mean, all this is pretty good. This is pretty solid action. You've almost got like a mix of Kirby, Trimpe, and Ramita Sr. in some of this. But it all works. Look at him blasting the cannon, and he just catches the shell and then throws it back at the tank. And then, of course, lifts up the tank and smashes it. And meanwhile, Rick is basically saying, don't worry about me. You just go on. You go on. They still continue to torture Rick, more or less, trying to lure the Hulk back. I mean, it's pretty crazy. It's a good colored panel, too. I mean, it shows Ross being pretty menacing in what he's up to here. So they're trying to monitor him, like his brain waves and stuff. You know, most of this is typical Hulk smash, Hulk destroy. So if that's what you want out of a Hulk story, you're definitely going to get it in this one. I mean, look at all these helicopters coming after him. So here's where they've got Rick like tied down. And the medic is basically saying, we're going to lose Rick. He's going to die. And he does. I mean, he's got like drool coming out of his mouth there. Nice comparison piece here of the Hulk. No, Rick. I mean, that's a good dynamic panel. This is a good shot. Look at his arm. His arm's a little short there, but still looks pretty good. So, I mean, Rick's dead. And Ross is kind of wondering if he did the right thing or not. Pretty good shot of the Hulk jumping. All this just smash him up, right? Get that shot of the Hulk. Great page. Look at that face. They do this several times in the issue, showing the jumping. I kind of dig it. It works. Now they're going to like launch all these missiles at him. The Hulk shows up at where they launch the missiles, and he's just going to pick one up and throw it. And it just misses. So he's just throwing them. They're not actually like blasting off. He's going to call in the Fantastic Four. It's gotten out of hand. And look at the white 4 on their chest. I guess that's to let you know this isn't exactly the universe that we know. Just in case you were wondering. They take their like old pogo plane when the FF used to have to climb, like in this rocket. Look at them climbing up the ladder. They blast out of the top. And the Hulk arrives too and immediately smashes their pogo plane. Another good shot of the Hulk. They do a lot of good close-ups on the Hulk. Johnny's going to be the first one to try to take him on. Hulk's going to just throw pieces of stuff at him. Look at this Mr. Fantastic hand. Great panel. I'm telling you, this artist is good. What happened to him? So he's just going to try to wrap the Hulk up, and the Hulk just starts stretching him out, stretching him out, stretching him out. Until the thing kind of shows up. And you can tell it's not quite the full. It's still a little bumpy. He's a little bumpy thing. So he hits the Hulk in the back of the head to release Stretcho there. And then they just start going at it. And now you're getting like the major. And the Hulk's yelling, die. Which I hadn't really seen that before. He usually just say smash and wanted to be left alone and stuff. But this time he's going towards Gamma Base. That's why they called the FFN too. He blows out the Human Torch. There's Sue. She can't really do much at this point. I don't think she may not have figured out her force fields yet at this point. I don't know. That's something they kind of retcon too, is she didn't really get it until much later, but a lot of times they act like she always had it. Anyway, thing comes back and there they go. They find this old bomb, and the Hulk just smashes it. Hulk wants death. And even this is a great panel. Rack. And it sets off I don't know if it was another gamma bomb. He says it's just an ICBM, or an intercontinental ballistic missile. And the Hulk doesn't care. So he hits it and blows it off. I guess that means it's like a nuclear bomb. And it goes off. And somehow the Thing and the Hulk survive. And it reverts the Thing back to Ben Grimm, and it reverts Banner, or the Hulk, back to Banner. Fortunately, it didn't singe off their clothes. And Ben Grimm is still conscious and is carrying Banner back, but then he just turns right back into the Hulk and crack. Kills Ben Grimm. So after he kills the Thing, of course, Johnny comes out and he just gets smacked away. And the whole time, the Hulk is wanting to come kill Ross because he's blaming Ross for Rick. And on TV, Donald Blake sees what's going on. He turns into Thor, and so he heads out there. Now remember, the Avengers haven't formed yet. So he's meeting Iron Man, who's on the way at the same time. And Iron Man's in his gold armor. So that's kind of letting you know, again, this is in like the very early day. This is like probably like day 2 of the Hulk or something. So the Hulk is in the air, he whams into Iron Man. And they go down, and you get like a very brief battle with Iron Man. He tries to shock him, tries to overpower him. Pretty good typical wrestling figure work right there. I like this shot of the hand too. I mean, this is like really well plotted by the artist. He's able to knock him back a ways. And then I guess he catches back up to him. Thor kind of standing to the side, and then he decides to hit Iron Man with some lightning, who's able to channel it back and hit the Hulk hard with it. Which I think we saw that even in the MCU at one point, when Thor did that, powered up Iron Man to throw a little extra shock. It's cool looking, really, but why couldn't Thor just hit him straight with the lightning? That seemed like that'd be just as powerful. Anyway, the Hulk finally gets his arms completely around him and crushes him. And it even says, he's crushed to a pulp, the heart stops. So the Hulk just kills Iron Man here. So far he's killed Ben Grimm and he's killed Iron Man that we've seen. Don't really know what happened to Johnny just yet. Die, Ross, die. So now he's going to take on Thor. And him and Thor go at it like they've had some really great full issue battles before. So we don't get that awesome full, like 20 some odd pages of Hulk and Thor going at it. But the couple pages we get here are pretty good. And at the end, Thor snaps his neck. He lost his hammer, I guess, because he reverts back to Donald Blake. He reverts back to Donald Blake in that moment. And then he becomes Thor again. And that's the end. He calls down some thunder to basically finish off Bruce Banner's body to ensure that he doesn't come back. And that's the end. And Ross is saying, we have much to atone for. So this is a typical what if that ends in tragedy, which is kind of the way I like my what if stories. It lets you know that the main path that the mainline comics took was the correct path. Is full of tragedy as they are. Usually the what ifs end in complete disaster right off the bat, which, I don't really get too much into the movies and the shows and stuff here. And I like the What If show, but my biggest complaint about it was that most of the endings were happier than the main ending. They were able to kill Thanos, so much easier in those What Ifs. So that was always my biggest complaint when watching those. And I would tell my kids, in the What If comics, it usually ended in tragedy. This one definitely ends in tragedy. As I said from the beginning, I don't think it's the most creative what if scenario. What if the Hulk went berserk? I mean, it goes berserk all the time. Really, it should be what if the Hulk killed everybody or tried to kill everybody? And that's the way it ends. So it took Thor to end it. The big debate on the Hulk and Thor, who's stronger. Usually their battles always end in pretty much a draw. It kind of depends on which title it's in. A lot of times the Hulk gets the upper hand or is able to just put Thor in a position to where the Hulk just leaves. So in this case, though, Thor comes out on top. Well, that's all I got.
Until next time, read your comics.
Perfect.
Down.
Everybody.
Oh, hey.
Oh, he's got a green screen and everything.
Oh, that's bad news. We're going to put a whole bunch of dicks behind that.
Right.